just a side note, our second driver, who happened to also be a Marine veteran, we really didn't choose these to cover all five branches. It was more the individual. So we do have two Marines and no Army, but we're still looking for an Army one. So there may be a sixth one at some point. But
Nice.
he told me, and this gentleman is uh, uh, he's a Vietnam veteran, and he's in his 70s. And he told me this is the first time since he came home from Vietnam that he felt welcomed and appreciated. So that
Wow.
was.
That's that's an emotional one right there. Welcome to Stream, a trucktractortrailer.com production. My name is Zach Miller. I'm your host, and I'm honored to be joined today by Ken Johnson, who is the CEO of Leonard's Express. Ken, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Zach, it's a pleasure. I appreciate the invitation to be here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm sure many of you have seen Leonard's trucks and trailers on the road. Leonard's does operate here in the lower 48 states. But there's something unique recently to some of the Leonard's trucks. And this is a really, really cool program that they started, this Patriotic wrap program. So Ken, tell us about the program, how it started and what people on the road should be looking out for.
Sure. Well, it really goes back a couple of years ago when we started formally recognizing our veterans. And last fall, they came to me and said, "Would you mind personalized signing cards that we want to give out to all our veteran employees?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. That's great. That's a good idea." And I'm thinking, we've got just under 1,000 employees. I figured maybe there was 75 or 100. I signed personally almost 300 cards. And
Wow.
so it is a significant part of our driving and non-driving population. And and that led to some discussions amongst the group that came and asked me to do that, which that came out of our HR and our personnel development group. And and they went back and they came to us with the idea of let's pick a driver from each one of our terminals and honor the military branch that he was in and make a donation to the charity of their choice. And that was an easy yes.
Yeah.
That was not hard to agree to. And they've really just taken the ball and ran with it. And the drivers, I won't say they applied. They were recommended by their terminal managers or their fleet managers. And then the group interviewed him, talked to him because we wanted someone that was comfortable with public speaking and things like
Yeah.
that. So they were each chosen, and so far we've done 3 of the 5. And the driver picks the charity. The driver works with our graphics folks to do the reps. But the fun thing is we do an unveiling for each one of them at their terminal that are based out of. And they don't get to see the actual truck until it comes out of either the shop or around the end of the building. So, we get to capture the look on their face. And it's just been, I've gotten to do 2 of the 3 presentations, and it's just, it's fun learning their stories, their background. And they're all different.
Yeah.
And it's I'm excited to do the next 2, and get all 5 of them. And it's really brought a lot of people together, this whole project, and it's been a lot of fun and very worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, how it's like that those like home renovation shows where like they don't see the house until
Right.
the house is done, and then you get like the live feed. That's amazing. So when do you think the remaining 2 will be done, when the whole fleet will be, the full wrap fleet will be able to be on the road?
Sure. I mentioned to you before we started recording that I was in Idaho and California this week. The purpose for my Idaho trip was originally to unwrap the 4th one, but the truck came from the manufacturer too late, and so it didn't get done this week. So that one will be done. I believe it's going to be the 14th of September. Which it's another Idaho truck. So it'll be done during Driver Appreciation Week, so we'll be able to tie the two celebrations together, which I think is wonderful. And then late September, we have another one that'll be at our Delaware terminal, which is our port operation, which fittingly that driver that was chosen for that facility is a Navy veteran. So that's kind of a neat tie-in. But yeah, we're looking to getting all getting all 5 of them done, because we're planning an event where we're going to get all 5 of them here at our home terminal in Farmington together for Veterans Day.
Awesome.
And have a Veterans Day celebration here on site, with not just those 5, but also every other veteran that is in the area or works in in this facility. We'll celebrate them, and kind of be a neat event.
What an awesome program. I love that. And that's it. It's funny because I was hoping they'd be done for Veterans Day. That's why I was asking about the timeline of it. So that's great how you could tie it into both Truck Driver Appreciation Week and then, of course, a big Veterans Day event.
Sure.
What a fantastic event and opportunity, and certainly anybody who's in that area, Rochester, around Veterans Day should go to Leonard's and check that out. I'm gonna see if I could go up myself, actually.
Absolutely, would love to have you, and it is something that we'd certainly welcome anyone from outside the organization to come and join us. The last truck we unveiled it was a Marine veteran, and we invited the local VFW's color guard, to come and escort the truck out of the shop, with the flag and so on. And they jumped at the chance. It was a lot of fun having them there. And and just a side note, our second driver, who happened to also be a Marine veteran, we really didn't choose these to cover all 5 branches. It was more the individual. So we do have 2 Marines and no Army, but we're still looking for an Army one, so there may be a 6th one at some point. Nice. But he told me, and this gentleman is he's a Vietnam veteran, and he's in his 70s, and he told me this is the first time since he came home from Vietnam that he felt welcomed and appreciated.
Wow.
So
that's an emotional one right there.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that was touching, and says a lot. And he's repeated it because several other people come up, told me the same story, that he said the same thing to them. So that's kind of neat that he, it's bad that he feels that way, but it's nice that we were able to make him feel that way eventually.
Exactly. You're on the right path, doing the right things. As I always say on stream, pun always intended. So we are going to switch gears a little bit here. You mentioned you were in California earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the audience to know, the week that Ken and I are recording this podcast, California did announce the new CARB regulation. Now that does not impact commercial trucks as of yet. That it's not the 2035 deadline, but we know that trucks are coming. And, of course, Ken and I are very actively involved in the Trucking Association of New York, which does tend to follow the California standards, when it comes to emission and environmental regulation. So Ken, I guess, from the California perspective, and then we could bring it back to New York a little bit, your trucks that operate in California, your operations in California, what are they thinking? What are they hearing? What sort of do you see coming down here the next 5-10 years in terms of that space?
Well, we have an office there, but it's our only employees in California are our office employees. Our drivers, and this isn't intentional, it just happens to be operationally where it makes sense for us. So our drivers go in from other states into California. We haul a lot of fresh product out of there, so we do a lot of miles in California, but we try to minimize the amount of fuel we buy there, just simply because it's so much more expensive because of some of their regulations. And we used to have a base of owner operators there. Most of them have gone away, and I think that industry, or that part of our industry, is going to suffer with the AB5 rules. California, obviously leads in a lot of legislation, and regulations, especially when it comes to the environment. It's for us, you mentioned we operate in all 48 states. It is very difficult to have 48 different regulations. And there's a lot of states between California and New York, and New York will adopt that, and they'll adopt, whatever comes next with the commercial vehicles, as will several other Northeast states. But there's a lot of states in between that won't. And, so that makes it very challenging for us to operate. And I don't know what that's going to mean. It's I think that technology they're pushing now is electric. And I think there's certain segments of our industry that will do fine with electric. And we may even do fine with electric when it comes to our refrigerated trailers. When it comes to the power, though, I think, we're looking at something else. Possibly hydrogen. I think hydrogen makes the most sense of the technologies that's out there, just simply because you can fuel up at a truck stop, with just a different type of fuel into a different type of truck, but it's, the same infrastructure or similar infrastructure, as opposed to having to find, a place to plug in. We can barely find a place to park, let alone a place to park that we can plug a truck in. So, I think that's, I just hope that the countries, and the states take their time, with some of this stuff to make sure that it's the right technology, and they don't put us all in the same basket. Trucking is a very broad, diverse industry, and there's a lot of different segments of it where, electric may work well for a beer distributor that's home every night running a couple 100 miles a day, where it doesn't work well for, an over the road long haul fleet like ours.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that, the general point of so often this industry, especially when it comes to regulation and legislation, is just put in one basket. And that, as anybody who operates knows, that can't possibly be the case. But unfortunately, New York is one of those states that tends to do that a lot. And and I think we're starting to see the confluence of all that negative results where, I mean, how many calls are you and I on where it's just like the overnight truck parking in this state, the heavy-handed enforcement, now congestion pricing happening downstate, closer to you, the I-81 reconstruction, where it's like, oh, we don't need a highway here, we could make it a boulevard. It's like, well, except for all the freight that goes through it, you kind of do, unless you want it in the neighborhoods, which you said you don't want. It's that sort of give and take where, if there was a better understanding of the different segments and how the industry really works, I think we could work together to get some of these positive changes instead of, continue to get hammered because of them.
I kind of thought during the pandemic, where, certain parts of New York were really struggling to get product in because, early on, the city was a hot spot, and, a lot of out of state and, and Canadian truckers did not want to go there, and they reached out to us. And, I thought the appreciation, was great. We finally, despite the negativity of what COVID did to the country, the and the individuals impacted by it, it did raise, the level of awareness of what we do.
Yeah.
But the COVID's not gone, but the appreciation of what we do seems to be waning. And they all love what we do. They love being able to go to their store or their favorite restaurant, and pick up the products that they need or want. They just don't want to be bothered with us doing it. It's they don't want to make it easy for us to do it. They want to throw up roadblocks and obstacles and make it a challenge for us to do our jobs.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So well said. It's just crazy. It really is just like whack-a-mole, and or even Hydra, whatever. One pops up, three come up after it. It's just it's so hard to keep track of. And then on top of that, the changing technology, the changing fuels, what all that's going to look like. I think it's really, bringing it full circle, I think it is really great, the RAPS program, to even just show, how and not even necessarily how patriotic it is, just how this country relies on trucking. You know what I mean? It's like we are the engine that keeps the economy afloat and moving. and we're not asking for a whole lot.
Right.
Just, a little bit of respect would be nice.
Yeah. Just let us do our jobs. And recognize that margins in trucking are tight. We're not a good choice for looking for a cash cow. We work hard and and we try to operate efficiently, and we're all for, and none of us want to ruin the environment or ruin the communities where we operate in. We want to operate safely. We want to operate efficiently. We want to operate cleanly. But we have to live with the technology we have, and so often the government has legislated technology that's not ready for prime time. And we've suffered for it. It's in high costs or low productivity because the trucks were broken down. And I'm afraid we're headed down some of those same paths again with this. But yeah, we just want to do our job, serve the country, and by providing the goods and services people want, and have the tools to do it.
Absolutely. Just one last question before you go. What do you think the Steelers' record is going to be this year?
I'd like to think it was going to be, let's see, they're playing an extra game this year. So maybe something with 11 wins. Unfortunately, the Steelers, you could be fourth place in our division and still be one of the top 7 or 8 teams in the AFC because it's such a strong division. So, I'm guessing, probably with a new quarterback and our offensive line isn't a whole lot better than it was last year. So it's, maybe 9 or 10 wins would be good. But I'm certainly hoping that we're better than your Jets are going to be.
Well, you really should be. If you're not better than the Jets this year, there's something went terribly, terribly awry.
Well, I've my happy home has been upset a little bit. My wife informed me last week when we were out on a walk that she has converted to being a Bills fan. So, and I support the Bills because we're in Bills country up here, but only when it doesn't impact my Steelers, and when the Bills do well, they got a lot of happier employees here in the morning. So not as many long faces. So, but boy, to have my wife jump ship, that was little disappointing.
That's a tough one. I mean, that's front runners,
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. That's all right. There's room for 2 flags on the house.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And who knows, maybe you could have a friendly wager with the employees. If the Steelers beat the Bills in the playoffs, maybe you do a Steelers wrapped truck instead of a Bills one.
Yeah, quick side note. I do travel around and spend some time in Florida in the winter. One of my neighbors has a Steelers wrapped RV.
Oh,
and yeah, that's it's kind of neat. And on the back of it, when I first met him, he had powered by Cower on the back, but he had a little engine fire, so that melted the wrap, so he had it redone with the with all the rings. But it was kind of neat and how I met him, because I intentionally went over to introduce myself when I seen him pull in. So nice guy. I've gotten to know him pretty well.
Can change the hashtag to Trucking with Tomlin. How's that?
There you go. Perfect.
And thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. I thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. If you guys like the content you see, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on stream.